let's now bring you the latest on the war in Ukraine. The United Nations nuclear watchdog has renewed calls for a safety zone after explosions near the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant raised fears of an accident. This comes as the government beams its searchlight on corrupt politicians. At least 11 government officials have either resigned or been sacked. This has led to some politicians in the United States calling for restrictions on aid to Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky is trying to speedily restore public faith, but the allegations are serious. An investigative journalist recently reported that the company of a senior Ukrainian official's personal trainer allegedly received millions of pounds since the full-scale Russian invasion began. There has also been a report by an investigative journalist which says President Zelensky's deputy head of office, Kyrylo Tymoshenko, moved his family to the mansion of a well-known property developer. The journalist also published footage which showed the same official driving an expensive Porsche. In reaction, he quit office. Let's give some attention to the African continent now. Barely a week ahead of his scheduled trip to the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan, Pope Francis has denounced a colonialist mentality of the international community toward Africa. He says there has been a lingering colonial mentality which places Africa as a continent to be exploited. Pope Francis added that Africa, on its part, is yet to develop the courage of total independence. And still in Africa, to West Africa, the Speaker of the Ecowas Parliament has blamed the low level of intra-community trade among Ecowas member states on the lack of a single currency and the use of the US dollars. He was speaking at the opening session of a seminar to sensitize members of the Ecowas Parliament on the pros of the Ecowas single currency in Guinea-Bissau. We have a report.
Import and export trade volume among Ecowas member countries is just about 10% of the total volume that comes into the region. The low trade volume has a negative impact on the objective of the regional body, Ecowas. This phenomenon has been tied to lack of common trading currency among member countries. The Authority of Heads of State and Government of Ecowas has made several efforts to ensure the single currency project is realized, but due to the impacts of COVID-19, a new date of 2027 for the kickoff of the single currency was set. The Speaker of the Regional Parliament has assured that there is enough political will.
The Parliament also wishes to contribute fully to the process of creating the single currency by ensuring effective monitoring of the community bodies and institutions in charge of this program, and by promoting the support of the population of which we are, in essence, the closest representatives.
If we look at the objectives that to be attained, especially with the emphasis on the common currency and then the removal of obstacles to free movement of persons and goods, services and capitals, without mentioning the creation of economic union, I believe.
The eco-currency was initially planned to be launched in 2003 and has been postponed several times since then due to issues of convergence of all currencies in the region, especially the CFA of the Francophone members, which is tied to France. Moyo Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
And now to the United States, where President Joe Biden is urging protesters in Tennessee to remain calm over the release of a video of an arrest that led to the death of a motorist. The body cam video of the encounter with 29 years old Tyre Nichols has been published, and lawyers for his family say it shows him being severely beaten. Officials say he was suspected of reckless driving. An attorney for Mr. Tyre Nichols' family says he was stopped by 5 police officers, all black, on his way home after taking pictures of a sunset at local park. Nichols loved photography and skateboarding. He was a FedEx worker and father of a 4-year-old boy. All 5 police officers are facing charges of second-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, and official oppression. Nichols' mother and stepfather describes his loss as painful. And still on the incident, the family of Tyre Nichols and members of his local community have attended a prayer vigil to celebrate his life. Attendees held candles and listened to various speakers, which included Tyre's mother. During her remarks, Rovon Wells thanked everyone that had come out and implored people to protest peacefully after the release of the body cam footage. His stepfather also reacted to his death. Let's step away from the U.S. to New Zealand, where torrential rains have caused widespread flooding in the biggest city, Auckland. Auckland Emergency Management says the northwestern and western parts of the city are seriously affected by significant flooding, with conditions expected to worsen. Major roads got blocked off by the floods, causing long traffic queues on highways. Emergency services have swung into action, and the organizers of the Elton John concert scheduled to hold in Auckland have cancelled it. Auckland Emergency Management Agency has advised residents in flood-prone areas to prepare to evacuate. In the United Kingdom is a different disaster. A huge fire has destroyed a heritage-listed Anglican church in London. 80 firefighters and 12 fire engines had to be deployed to the scene, and motorists were urged to avoid the area. 3 turntable ladders, including the tallest one in Europe at 64 meters, were used for quelling the fire. The fire brigade put it under control by 2:22 a.m. this morning. It produced a significant amount of smoke in the local area that residents were advised to keep their windows and doors closed. The cause of the blaze is now under investigation. And finally, on the news, let's turn attention now to Nigeria here for a look at a disease currently ravaging the country. It is diphtheria, which has such symptoms like coughing, difficulty in breathing, and high temperature, especially in children. The World Health Organization says such children or adults who come with the symptoms must quickly go for medical examination.
Diphtheria is a deadly but curable infection caused by bacteria Diphtheria. It has been medically proven to be more common in children and the elderly with low immune systems. It spreads when people cough or sneeze. Medical experts say it spreads faster in overcrowded and dirty areas without ventilation. In the dry season, diphtheria spreads rapidly because the weather is windy and droplets can be easily blown from place to place. The ailment is now in 4 states of Nigeria, and the NCDC has placed the health sector on red alert.
We are worried because we don't want
Dr. Rotimi Adesonya is a public health physician. He was on hand to explain the ailment further.
Some people may have skin ulceration. That is the type of diphtheria that affect the skin, which we call cutaneous diphtheria. So some people may have wounds, which we call ulcers on their body. So if the environments are clean, these bacteria may not even have avenue to grow. So the bacteria thrive very well in unhygienic places.
The symptoms of diphtheria include coughing, sneezing, fever, sore throat, swollen glands, swollen neck, and at the complicated level, difficulty in breathing, paralysis of the muscles. Doctors say the test for diphtheria and treatment are both cheap.
We give pentavalent to children at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and 14 weeks. So this pentavalent vaccine contains the diphtheria vaccine that protects our children. What is reported out there is that most of the people that are coming down with diphtheria now are most likely not to have been vaccinated in their childhood. And one other thing, vaccine, after some years, the level of the immunity will wane. It will go down. So people have to take booster vaccine.
There are strategies for preventing the spread of the ailment. They include isolation, hand washing, and vaccination, just like in the tackling of COVID-19, which also spreads through droplets. Watchers of the health sector say, as diphtheria is fast becoming a threat to public health in Nigeria, the federal government should start deploying more medical personnel to areas of prevalence to ensure the treatment of the affected and the immunization of high-risk groups. Jacqueline Ogo, TVC News, Lagos.